Welcome to the 9642 podcast. This is your host, Mr. NumberNine.
And this is the Fool.
This is where me and the Fool give our
Unqualified and unrequested
ramblings on the various issues in the world of sport.
or something like that.
Hello, everyone. We are back to our bread and butter, but not the Premier League. We're going to review everything in Europe. I think we've got our head around this. I think. So we're looking at the Champions League. It's still going to be an incredible tournament. Nobody knows how it's going to play out just because all the teams. It's a new format, the Swiss format, though. I might get sued if I call it that, so we'll just retract that. This is the new format that UEFA totally didn't copy from this guy who sent it to UEFA and did a suggestion in open source.
Yeah. Not at all.
Totally is not what happened.
No.
And so the teams are playing the teams are all going to play 8 games. This is the same format for all 3 of the big European tournaments: the the Champions League, the Europa League, and the Europa Conference League.
Yeah.
And just have a quick review of the teams from each country. England have Manchester City, Liverpool, Aston Villa, and Arsenal. Spain have Barcelona, Girona, Atletico Madrid, and Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And Portugal have Benfica and Sporting CP. Italy have Inter Milan and AC Milan, Atalanta and Bologna. And Germany have Borussia Dortmund.
You forgot Juventus from Italy as well.
Oh yeah, and Juventus as well, of course, returning back to the Serie A. The 5 teams, of course, because they got the legacy champion spot.
Yeah.
And the second legacy champion spot went to Germany. We have Dortmund, Leverkusen, Bayern, and Leipzig.
And Stuttgart.
And Stuttgart as well. Stuttgart returning back to the Champions League. And Leverkusen now are never loosen.
Yeah, exactly.
Though they just did lose to RB Leipzig in the Bundesliga a few weeks ago. So.
Oh well.
So yeah.
All good things
come to an end.
Exactly.
Then we have France, who have 3 teams representing them with 4 teams: PSG, Monaco, Brest, and Lille.
Yeah.
Brest making their debut in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I think they're the second club from Brittany to make it to the Champions League, because back in the 90s and a few times in the 2000s we had Nantes, who are the southern side of Brittany. But look, we can see. I totally call it. They're gonna be disqualified for using magic potions.
100%.
We all know what you're up to, Brest.
Yeah. Or they'll have some guy that he just fell in the potion when he was a baby. He's just like that.
Yeah. He's totally not a freak of nature. It's totally fair for him to play.
Exactly.
Next up, we have a couple of countries with 2 teams. As you said, Portugal had Benfica and Sporting, and Holland or the Netherlands have PSV Eindhoven and Feyenoord.
Yeah.
And Austria have Sturm Graz returning back to the Champions League, and RB Salzburg. The Red Bulls. And then we have Belgium represented by Club Brugge, the Scotland represented by Celtic, the Czech Republic represented by Sparta Prague, Slovakia represented by Slavan Bratislava, Croatia, represented by Dinamo Zagreb. And 1991 champions Red Star Belgrade, representing Serbia, and Shakhtar Donetsk, representing the Ukraine.
Yeah.
So those are our 40 competitors. It's a very, very storied field. A bunch of teams who have won this tournament before returning back. Aston Villa. Obviously, we've got the perennial competitors: Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Real Madrid, goes without saying, AC Milan, and Inter Milan. Then we've got Liverpool, of course, as well. And then we've got teams like Red Star Belgrade and Celtic, who have also won this tournament. Ironically, and Benfica as well. Have won it twice. So it's a very decorated field here. And it's going to be an incredible tournament. Now, so obvious, if we have a quick look, the match days are going to start next week. We have match day 1 already looks like a bit of a stunner with, first match we've got Young Boys playing Aston Villa, Juventus going to hosting PSV, Eindhoven and Milan hosting Liverpool. Classic matchup, that one. Bayern will host Dinamo Zagreb. Real Madrid will host VfB Stuttgart. Sporting CP hosting Lille. Sparta Prague hosting Red Bull Salzburg. Bologna hosting Shakhtar. Donetsk. Celtic hosting Slovan Bratislava. Club Brugge hosting Borussia Dortmund. Manchester City playing Inter Milan. Now that should be an incredible game. A revenge match for Inter Milan for the 2023 Champions League final. Paris Saint-Germain hosting Girona. Feyenoord hosting Bayer Leverkusen. 1990 champions Red Star Belgrade hosting the 1964 and 1966 champions Benfica. Monaco hosting Barcelona. Atalanta hosting Arsenal. That should be another great game.
That is a good game.
Atletico Madrid hosting RB Leipzig, another
that's a cracker
one, and Brest hosting Sturm Graz. So they will get to on the 19th of September, so they're gonna get a chance. I think a great opportunity for their fans. That's a game, they're gonna host the Champions League. Sturm Graz, obviously no pushovers, but I'm sure they would back themselves there.
I think so too. I think that's a great game for both of those teams. Like, a good way to start off. They'll both have good chances there. But there's some really good games in there. You just say Atalanta, Arsenal, Atletico, Leipzig. You've obviously got City and Milan and AC and Liverpool. So those are some cracker games in there. But it seems good all round, really, as you'd expect.
Yeah, City start off with a hard game, though. Obviously, they're hosting at the Etihad against Inter Milan. But then they go to Eastern Europe, going to Slovan Bratislava, and then go on to play Sparta Prague. So to host Sparta Prague, rather. And then they go away to Sporting CP. So that's going to be an interesting game for them. Then they host Feyenoord. Then they play Juventus at Juventus, 11 December. That's going to be an incredible game. And then they play Paris Saint-Germain and Paris on the 22nd of January. Another revenge game, I think, for Paris Saint-Germain. And then they host Club Brugge. So they have a pretty decent, they're very winnable fixtures in there. And there's also some tough games. So I think City fans are going to get their money's worth. I mean, I fully expect City to make it through to the end. It's really weird because nobody, like what happens in the event of ties and if goal differences are equal, do they look at seeding of opponents to determine who gets through?
Technically, all the opponents should be equally amount of seeded ones. They've plotted them by their European or the UEFA rankings, and then you only need to get 2 from each different pot. So they should, in theory, everybody has an equal toughness across the whole all 8 games.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought. Everybody has. So the tiebreakers go as goal difference, goals scored, away goals scored, wins, away wins, higher number of points collectively by league phase opponents. Obtained collectively by league phase opponents. So if your opponents have collected more points in the league, then you get stats to 6. Superior collective goal difference of league phase opponents, higher number of goals scored by league phase opponents. Lower disciplinary points is the 9th thing, and then number 10, finally, UEFA coefficient. So so they're not at least they're not going to go with drawing lots.
No, they have to get down to it. They're like, okay, whoever was technically the better team, you go through.
At least that's the 10th thing, so that's okay. Like, I'm okay with that being the 10th tiebreaker for deciding
There's a lot of things you have to get through before you get to, okay, fine, we'll tick you because you were slightly better at the beginning of the season.
Well, you've had a better record in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit unfair for teams like Brest, obviously, but or Girona for that matter, and Bologna, but them's the breaks. It totally doesn't advantage the rich, I promise.
No, not at all. Who would imagine that?
I think, like, the other favorite team we think in this competition, Real Madrid, they start their tournament with VfB Stuttgart, which is like going to be a great game. Then they go to Lille. It could be a bit of a banana skin game. For some reason, Madrid always seem to perform poorly in France. Recently, and then they host Borussia Dortmund, which will be a cracker.
Oh, that's a big game, yeah. Oh.
And then they host Milan, which is another cracker, the 2 most successful European sides.
That's 2 big match days in a row, really.
Yeah. Then they go away to Liverpool. Revenge game for Liverpool, and then they go away to Atalanta. This is like hardly any easy games for Real Madrid. The champions are getting getting a bunch of challengers. Then they host Red Bull Salzburg. And finish off by going off to Brest. It's another treat for their fans. The big empire going to a bunch of holdouts on the tip of the Brittany Peninsula, the edge of France.
Yeah.
You know the narrative. It would be incredible if Brest was to somehow knock Real Madrid out of the Champions League.
That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. That really would be a story.
Yeah, I think those are probably the teams we would consider our 2 favorites. Obviously, there's teams like Bayern Munich that always seem to do well in these tournaments. Liverpool, I think, will definitely get out of the group stage and make their way through. So having a quick, just for my own curiosity, just looking at how Aston Villa will have. They start off going to Young Boys, then they host Bayern Munich. And then they host Bologna. It's not bad. Then they go away to Club Brugge, and they host Juventus. And then they go to RB Leipzig, another tough game, and then go to Monaco, and then host Celtic, which will be a great ender. I think Aston Villa, a lot of their tough games are at home.
I think so too. I
don't think your fans can complain. Like, sure, going to Leipzig is going to be tough, but a lot of their away games are going to Monaco, going to Young Boys, and Celtic. I think going to Celtic for an English team would have been tough, but they host them, so that's less of an issue. I think.
I think so. Yeah. So I think you're right. Aston Villa have got quite a doable series of fixtures, right? Like, that is definitely a series of fixtures you look at and go, we can do something with this.
at least they should expect to make it to the knockout phase, if not get to the top 8.
Yeah, exactly. I would expect them into that knockout phase, you say. Whether they can make top 8 will depend on, say, those key home games against some of the bigger teams. So, that could swing things. But especially, say, you're looking at Real Madrid's matches that's pretty tough. So, while you expect them to win, maybe they drop points. You got the tough games at home. Maybe you pick up extra points. That can help. Some of the others don't have necessarily the easiest run of things either. Like it looks like I think Bayern has a lot of their home games, well, a few home games early on.
Yeah.
So they. That's
looking at they host Dinamo Zagreb to begin with. Then they go away to Aston Villa, as we just mentioned.
Yeah.
Then they go to Barcelona, which is going to be an incredible game.
Yeah.
Hosting Benfica, classic Euro night fixture. Then they host Paris Saint-Germain. Then they go to Shakhtar, never easy.
No, exactly.
Then they go to Atletico, which is another tough fixture, and then they host Slovan Bratislava. So they're hosting a bunch of games that are... Oh, and then they go to Feyenoord as well, which once again, tough place for a German team to go to. Playing in the Netherlands. So Bayern also have there are fixtures here we can see them drop. City, their tough fixtures are at home, whereas Bayern seem to have the opposite. A lot more at least on paper, easier looking fixtures at home.
Yeah, exactly. And it does look like those sort of tougher games are away. So that's why I was looking at them thinking, well, that's potentially points drop, not necessarily losses, but maybe draws we might not expect it. So, I would imagine
they might get a lot of goal difference from their home fixtures.
There is that. I'm just thinking though, I'm imagining this is going to be pretty tight come the end. So, a point here or there may be the difference between, the top 8 and therefore going through to the round of 16 as the top seeds, or being in the next pool of things and having to play a knockout, play the knockout phase to make it through to the round of 16. So
absolutely. If we just go to the next Premier League team, Liverpool start off quite tough, going to the San Siro to play Milan.
Yeah.
Then they host Bologna. And they go on to play RB Leipzig away, with tough fixture and hosting Bayer Leverkusen at Anfield. They then go on to host Real Madrid, which is one of the fixtures of the tournament, I think.
Yes.
Then they go to Girona. They host Lille, and they go to PSV Eindhoven. So there's some tough fixtures in there for Liverpool, but there are games that they want to target for points. But even PSV Eindhoven away, that's not going to be an easy fixture. Maybe Lille at home, they'll want to win. They definitely will want to win, but they're also hosting Real Madrid. Not much tougher than that when it comes to your hosting.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they host Bayer Leverkusen as well. So Xabi Alonso going back to Liverpool. The club he played for with much acclaim, and won the Champions League with in 2005.
Oh yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting. And the club he turned down to stay at Leverkusen, which I think is a Chad move, by the way. Complete Chad move there to see what he could do with the team in his second year. Yeah. And then to complete our Premier League roundup, we've got Arsenal away to Atalanta. Oof, tough start for them.
Yeah.
Then they host Paris Saint-Germain. Then they host Shakhtar, which, okay, it's easier than hosting PSG, probably. And then they go away to San Siro to play Inter Milan.
Yeah.
They then go to Lisbon to play Sporting. And they go to Girona to play Girona, obviously. And then they host Lille. Sorry, that's Liverpool, beg your pardon. They host Dinamo Zagreb, and they're
at home to Monaco on the 11th December.
Home to Monaco, so yeah. Sorry, and then they are away to Girona. Sorry, because I said the Girona. That was actually Liverpool. You're right. So that was They host Monaco. So Arsenal have a bunch of tough fixtures too. I would not be surprised if they're the lowest ranked Premier League team because of the toughness of fixtures, especially like the time of year they're getting them, like the December fixtures. They're gonna play Sporting, and they're gonna actually that's not too bad because given Aston Villa has to host Juventus at that point.
Yeah.
And
that's not too bad.
They have to go to Leipzig, whereas Arsenal have to host Monaco. Like December is when you want your easier fixtures.
Yeah. It's leading into that Christmas period.
Teams,
yeah. Like it's not too bad because it's early. Like there's quite a gap there, from December through to 11th of December through to 21st of January, so all those that big congestion of games for the Premier League sort of happens just after that. But at the same point, like you've got your eye on that as well, right? For that December game, the easier that can be, the better. So you don't have to throw too much at it.
And I suspect Arsenal will still be in the running for winning the league at that point of the season. So
of course, it's not much yet. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm not gonna. What would you think? Who's your favorite for? Pick your top 8. Who do you think are gonna be winning the?
Top 8, I think. Real Madrid obviously will be there.
Yep.
Manchester City, obviously. PSG. Bayern Munich. So I mean, straightforward at the moment. I think probably Liverpool. I mean, they've got tough fixtures, but
it is tough fixtures.
But the toughest ones are at home, right? So
they're going to be in the league. Yeah. Sorry. We don't know how they're going to be in the league. They're obviously doing really well now. As are Barcelona. Barcelona look incredible now.
Yeah.
In La Liga, they just look like they score goals at will. Well, you have Lamine Yamal, so. And they have Nico Williams, so they've got the 2 players who made Spain awesome.
Yeah.
In the Euro. I think Barcelona have to be one of the teams we consider for that.
I think so. Barcelona's there. And then I was thinking one of the Italian teams. Probably, I guess, Inter?
Probably Inter. They're the team that teams looking at Barcelona's schedule. They start off away to Monaco, and then they host Young Boys. Then they host Bayern Munich, who they have a good record against.
At home,
at home as well. They go away to Red Star. Then they host Brest. They go away to Dortmund. They go away to Benfica, and they host Atalanta.
Yeah.
So I think Barcelona have a pretty good schedule. They're a good shout for number 1.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually, looking at that. Barcelona has a really good schedule. So, yeah.
So I think City, obviously. I think Arsenal will be there too in the top 8. Despite the relative toughness of their schedule. I think Real Madrid, obviously. I think Barcelona. I do think Bayern Munich, there's a chance they might not be in the top 8 just because of the toughness of their schedule. I think Leverkusen's schedule looks pretty good. I agree. Inter. No, you're right. But I think Bayern Munich will make it through in that top 8, and it's probably PSG, number 8.
Yeah.
But yeah, who's not making it? Who are the 8 that will not make it?
Well, that's harder, I guess.
Actually, it is 12 teams that won't make it, so never mind. That's a lot of teams.
That's a lot of teams, yeah. Yeah.
But 24 out of 36 making it to the knockouts. Like I said, you'd expect all the names. There's even a chance, even teams like Celtic, Feyenoord, Dinamo Zagreb, Red Star, they must all be fancying their chances to at least make the knockouts.
Yeah, exactly. And from there, it's week by week, right? Game by game. You just gotta. I mean, the knockouts, it is home and away, right? But still, you get in there, you got 2 games. Who knows what can happen over the tie? You make it through. It's knockout football at that stage. You just gotta play what's in front of you, and who knows where you get to. So.
Exactly, and obviously coefficients will play a role. I'll tell you, there will be one team that gets through to the knockouts ahead of another because of coefficients.
Yeah, possibly. It is possible that sort of 24th spot might get a little bit dicey and close. So.
Because there's 12 teams below you, you can easily think, like, the team finishing 24th, there might be between 20 and 26 all be on 4 wins. And the same number of draws and losses. It's not impossible.
Yeah. Well, probably be like 2 wins, 2 wins, 4 losses, and a couple of draws might be that sort of spot where that's sort of maybe just getting, because it's 8 games each, right? And it's a random across all of it, so.
Especially if any team like Barcelona hit their stride. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester City hit their stride, and they go they get perfects, like they would get 8 wins.
Yeah.
I think that's possible because none of those 3 teams play each other.
Yeah, that's a good point. You need to look at that for your top 8 as well, like which of those top 8 are playing each other, because that's going to matter.
Barcelona not playing City, that's huge, right?
Yeah.
But Bayern Munich have to play both Barcelona and I think Real Madrid as well in there, and that's tough.
That is tough. That is a tough thing to have to do, because that's, you say, you're playing 2 of the other top 8 contenders, so that's tough for everybody involved there, because you win, that's great, but that's probably a draw. That's 2 points dropped. Hey, there's other teams there that are potentially going through 8-0. So that, and all it requires is a couple of others to have, the ones we haven't gone through have easiest type ones as well. You're into that next bracket.
Bayern Munich only play Barcelona. They don't play, but they do still have a bunch of tough teams on their schedule. Barca look like the best schedule. That, I'm not going to review every team's schedule.
No.
Barca's look the best, and so they look like they're in incredible form, and they could be a tough team in this competition.
Yeah. I mean, technically, the top 8 expected from ranking each of them should play 2 others in the same bet. So it should all sort of come out in the wash. But at the same time, sometimes rankings don't necessarily quite equal out to rankings, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so if we move on to the Europa League, the best league.
Yeah.
Honest. Okay, sorry, pot 1 was Real Madrid, Manchester City. Okay, so the seeded teams were Real, Manchester City, Bayern Munich, PSG, Liverpool, Inter Milan, Borussia Dortmund, Leipzig, and Barcelona. So, okay. And they'll only play 1 team from their pot, looks like, generally.
I thought they should play 2 from their pot.
No, they play 1 from each
1,
pot.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 2 from each pot. That means 8. 8 games, right? 4 pots.
Oh, right. Because Barcelona will play Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. Right, right.
Yeah, so they should play 2 from each of their pots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So theoretically, everybody should have somewhat equal toughness across all the games.
Yeah. That makes more sense. Now, if we go to the Europa League, we come to our teams are represented by. Why is this one not in alphabetical order in the preview? This is so weird. There's Roma from Italy, Manchester United from England, Porto, Ajax, Rangers, Eintracht Frankfurt, Lazio, Tottenham Hotspur, Slavia Prague, Real Sociedad, AZ Alkmaar, Braga, Olympiacos, Lyon, PAOK, Fenerbahce, Maccabi Tel Aviv, Fenerbahce, Karabag, Galatasaray, Victoria Plzen, Bodo Glimt, all the way up in Norway, Union St. Galois, Dynamo Kiev, and then Ludogorets Razad from Bulgaria, Midtjylland, Malmo, Atletico Bilbao, TSG Hoffenheim, Nice, Anderlecht 20, Besiktas, FCSB, RFS from Latvia, and IF Elfsborg from Sweden.
Yeah.
So I think they just put it in the order of the seeding.
Yeah, I think they did, yeah.
Which makes sense. So those are... and looking at our opening match day, which is on the 25th of September, so a fortnight from now, we have AZ play IF Elfsborg, Bodo Glimt hosting Porto, Dynamo Kiev hosting Lazio, Midtjylland hosting TSG Hoffenheim, Galatasaray hosting PAOK, Greek-Turkish clash there.
Yeah.
Manchester United hosting FC 20, Nice hosting Real Sociedad, Ludogorets hosting Slavia Prague, Anderlecht hosting Ferencváros, Fenerbahce hosting Union St. Galois, Malmo hosting Rangers, Ajax hosting Besiktas, Roma hosting Athletic Bilbao, Eintracht Frankfurt hosting Victoria Plzen from the Czech Republic, FCSB from Romania hosting sometimes known as Steaua Bucharest, former European Cup winner, hosting RFS from Latvia, Lyon hosting Olympiacos, Braga hosting Maccabi Tel Aviv, and Tottenham Hotspur hosting Karabag. So some interesting fixtures in that first round.
Yeah.
I think it looks like the Europa League is always hard to judge. There's always this is where you have to travel. The league where you travel far and wide. I feel like, as an example, like Manchester United going all the way to the north, to the Arctic Circle, Bodo Glimt. Playing all the way in northern Norway. I don't think too many teams want to go there.
No.
This is the club where the whole city turned on Jose Mourinho, which standard. After Bodo Glimt did the double against Roma, and then they went on to Roma went on to knock Bodo Glimt out.
Yeah.
And Mourinho famously said before the game, I don't care about Bodo Glimt, I don't care about their mayor, I don't care about their bus driver, I don't care about their shopkeepers. And let's be honest, the official one is at Fenerbahce.
Yeah.
The team almost, their members voted to leave the Turkish league. and not compete because they thought there was a conspiracy amongst the referees. So I think this is a match made in heaven.
It is.
Like, this is the sort of club Mourinho should be leading right now.
Exactly. It's perfect. Yeah.
But to counter that, their eternal rivals Galatasaray signed Victor Osimhen.
Yeah.
On loan for the season, so yeah. This is the Turkish Super League is going to be interesting this season for sure.
Yeah.
If we look at the schedule, so Manchester United start off by hosting 20. I think Erik ten Hag will definitely want to try and win that game. Then they go to Porto, a place where they've not had the best record. And they then go to Fenerbahce, who are going to be pumped. They love to play English clubs. They especially love to play Manchester United. They then host PAOK in Thessalonica. Lots of people, including Andy Mitten, the Manchester United correspondent. Like, he's been a Manchester United correspondent in forever. He's been like the running the Manchester United fanzine since he was 13 years old, and now he's in his 50s. He's a proper old school journalist. Like the kind of guy who walks into a bar where a game is on and starts talking to fans of different teams to see what they think. And, like, the story comes out, like, well, everybody else, like the modern journalists are on their phones looking for updates on the agglomeration sites.
Yeah. He's just out there talking to people.
He's just out there talking to people and getting, like, and then the people say, like, he ends up getting free stuff and getting into weird adventures all around the world. He was a bit disappointed because he at first was like, oh, going to PAOK, Thessalonica is lovely. I'd love to go to their stadium because he's a stadium enough. And then like, oh, wait, we only host them. We're not going away. It was a bit of a moment for him, but he's looking forward to going to Bodo Glimt. Obviously he's already been to Bodo Glimt. He's just like looking forward to going back there because obviously he has. Manchester United play them in November. They come to Manchester United rather. They host them, and then they go Victoria Pleasant in the Czech Republic. They then host Rangers. Followed by going to Romania. See, this is a schedule. On paper, Manchester United can have a perfect league round.
Yeah.
Realistically, given the resources and the players at their disposal, Manchester United, like, maybe going to Fenerbahce away is a tough fixture. Or going to Porto, but, you'd expect them to come here to the top 8 quite easily, but to Manchester United, you never know.
You never know.
Like, if we look at, like, Tottenham Hotspur, they play Karabakh at home.
Yeah.
So they're going to be happy to not have to travel all the way to Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
They then host they go to Ferencvaros in Hungary.
Yeah.
Then they host AZ Alkmaar, and they then travel to Galatasaray. That's going to be another big game in Istanbul. They then host Roma, the Jose Mourinho derby there, and then they also play Rangers. Rangers gets to play both the English teams, so they go to Glasgow to play Rangers at Ibrox Stadium.
Yeah.
Then they go to TSG Hoffenheim in Germany, and they host IF Elfsborg. Like, Tottenham Hotspur, once again, on paper, look like very easily in the top 8. And to be fair, I think Europa League, I think Tottenham are in a better position than Manchester United are right now. So I do think they'll go all the way in. Just for consistency with previous seasons, looking at Mourinho watch, Fenerbahce host Union Saint-Gilloise from Belgium.
Yeah.
They then go to 20 in Holland. Then they host Manchester United, as we mentioned, and then they go to AZ Alkmaar. So going to Holland twice.
Yeah.
They then go to Czech Republic rather, Czechia, to go play Slavia Prague.
Yeah.
They then host Athletic Bilbao, and they host Lyon, and then go to Denmark to play Midtjylland. So, winnable fixtures for the special one there.
Yeah.
No reason for him not to finish in the top 8, I think.
I think you're right there. Like, they should be pretty close to that, if not, be easily top 8. So everything seems to be reasonably straightforward for them. Yeah, they do have the Tottenham game. That's right. So that's always going to be a tough one. Who else do they have? They had Tottenham, and they had, what was the other top 2 team that they were playing? Lost that.
They're playing Manchester United as well.
Oh, Manchester, yes, alright, sorry, yes. They get... Jose gets...
Playing a bunch of Jose Mourinho, former Jose Mourinho teams, so you know what's going to happen there.
Jose Mourinho gets to do the...
He's on the revenge tour, and obviously he's going to face Roma in the knockout phase at some point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's just got to happen. And then maybe Porto as well, but Porto is not really a revenge tour for Jose.
No. That they're coming home for. Just to be like,
that's homecoming, yeah.
So
they still love him there.
So I think that'd be interesting. Interesting for Fenerbahce and Jose. That could be. They could do very well there. I think.
And they do go to Holland a bunch of times, so that'll be interesting as well. And they play another Dutch team at home. So I like Fenerbahce's schedule. I think they could finish in the top 8. I think Rangers are kind of overseeded, if I'm being fair.
Possibly, yeah. They ended up.
They make a final a few years ago and lost to Eintracht Frankfurt. That's probably why they've got such a high coefficient and seeding.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So they managed for 63 coefficient points, which put them 5th. So.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So they're sort of the top of the rest. I mean, you got Roma at 101 points, United at 92 points, Porto 77, and then Ajax 67, Rangers 63, Frankfurt 60. Like, starting to get into the rest of them at that point.
Yeah. It's gonna be I think, like I said, it's gonna be an interesting tournament.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think Roma, Manchester United, Porto, Tottenham Hotspur are probably gonna make it through. Eintracht Frankfurt as well. This is where I go. Lazio, Rangers, and Ajax, who have not started well, could all in their leagues could all have a tough time. But and we've got teams like Athletic Bilbao and Real Sociedad coming up to chase them.
Yeah.
And they and obviously you're gonna play the Turkish teams Fenerbahce and Galatasaray, so this is gonna be an interesting tournament as well. We'll see how that falls out. Now, finally, we go to the Conference League.
The actual best league.
I don't disagree in many ways. I think this definitely has its charm.
Yeah.
And looking at this league, our top 4 leagues are always only represented by one team. So Spain is represented by Real Betis. England is represented by Chelsea. Germany is represented by Hoffenheim, and Italy is represented by Fiorentina. But a couple of teams have doubles. So Switzerland has Lugano and Saint Gallen. Belgium has Ghent and Cercle. Also another club from Bruges. Just to complete the British Isles, Wales have the New Saints, the only professional club in Wales, so no surprises there. Hearts representing Scotland, Larne representing Northern Ireland, and gotta say it's great to see a club from outside of Belfast coming to represent Northern Ireland in Europe. Shamrock Rovers, as always, representing Ireland. Vikingur representing Iceland. Molde, formerly managed by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, representing Norway. Switzerland has two clubs coming. Djurgardens, football is foreigning. Yep, I did perfect. First time.
First time, perfect.
And sorry, that's Sweden's representative, and FC Copenhagen representing Denmark. Helsing Jaka Polo Clubby, once again, perfect. Representing Finland.
Yep.
Poland having two clubs, Legia Warsaw and Jagiellonia Białystok. If those of us who play Civ 5 should know Jagiellonia, there's a female king of Poland.
Yeah.
Who was the first king of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. FK Mlada Boleslav from the Czech Republic. Lask and Rapid representing Austria. The Olimpia, Ljubljana, and Celje from Slovenia, so they get two representatives. Borac Banja Luka from playing in Bosnia. It's the city if guys, people like us, 90s child, remember from the Yugoslav wars, would always be on TV. TSC representing Serbia. The Panathinaikos representing Greece, which is unusual that they're not all the way in the Champions League like they usually are. And then Cyprus having three teams: Apoel, Ammonia, and Paphos, the only team from Cyprus outside of the capital of Nicosia. It's Turkey represented by Istanbul Başakşehir. Armenia represented by the coolly named club FC Noah.
Yeah.
And then to Belarus represented by Dynamo Minsk. And Moldova represented by Petro Club Hinchesti. Sorry, the Czech Republic is represented by Mlada Boleslav. And Astana FC representing Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So we've got teams from all over Europe, all the way, like some teams geographically outside of Europe as well in Astana.
Yeah.
I suppose if we're being geographical, so are all the Cypriot teams.
That's right.
Not geographically in Europe.
What is Europe, really? It's the state of being.
That's on the just geographically. I didn't say the state of being. That's as in, like, they're on the Asian continental shelf.
Yeah. I know what you mean, don't worry. But yeah.
So looking at the first round of fixtures, Istanbul Başakşehir hosting Rapid Wien, Vitoria Gumarães hosting Celje from Slovenia, FC Heidenheim from Germany hosting Olimpia Ljubljana, Cercle Bruges hosting St. Gallen, Astana hosting TSC, Dynamo Minsk hosting Hearts, Noah hosting Mlada Boleslav, Legia Warsaw hosting Real Betis, Molde hosting Larna, Ammonia hosting Vikingio Reykjavik, Fiorentina hosting the New Saints, Chelsea hosting Gent, Copenhagen hosting Juliana Bialystok, Lugana hosting HJK, Petra Club Hinchesti hosting Paphos, Borac Banja Luka hosting Panathinaikos, Lask hosting Drew Gardens IF, and Shamrock Rovers hosting Apoel.
Yeah.
So some interesting fixtures. Looking at Chelsea, they host Ghent, as we mentioned, in the first round. They then travel to Panathinaikos in Greece.
Oof, yeah.
Going on to host Noah, and then going on to play FC Heidenheim away.
Yeah.
They then go away all the way to Kazakhstan to play Astana. They then host Shamrock Rovers. It'll be a fun game.
Yeah.
There's only 6 match days.
Only 6 match days for them.
They still have 36 teams, but so yeah, Chelsea. Other than the travel distance, once again, on paper, Chelsea should win this competition.
Yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush here. This top 8 that they've got, Chelsea, Fiorentina, Real Betis, these are the clubs you expect to see.
Exactly.
In the next round. Probably, I think also clubs like FC Heidenheim, who won who came second in the Copal. They're probably not, because they're a second, 2 Bundesliga team.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, they got promoted.
They got promoted.
So they finished 8th. Oh yeah, well done them. So yeah, I think maybe then they can probably also be considered a top 8 side. And then Ghent as well, Molde, just because they're so good at this level. Istanbul, Başakşehir. Yeah, it's hard to see. It's hard to see anyone outside of that top 24 not making it through to the next round. There's this is the thing where the Conference League should be for that, next tier below. Your teams from Cyprus and, good teams from Eastern Europe, they should be the ones competing in this tournament and be there. But, there's Chelsea, so they're going to win. Or they should win.
We should win. We should click.
Chelsea or Fiorentina, one of those 2 teams should win.
Yeah. We need to win to complete our set of European trophies.
Yeah, like Real Betis, Fiorentina, Chelsea, one of those 3 teams probably should win, and there's an outside chance with Heidenheim as well. Yeah. But, but I think, this tournament was designed for, more European competition for the countries lower down the coefficient.
Yeah.
And they have more teams, so I guess it does give them something. They do get the funding and the money, so...
Yeah.
And it's weird because, this being in the Conference League just means the New Saints will just always dominate Welsh football. And ditto, Shamrock Rovers.
Yeah.
At least with Larne, they're an outsider club. It's not one of those clubs from Belfast that have gone through.
Yeah, exactly. So that's interesting.
So it'll be it's gonna be an interesting tournament, but looking at the other teams that we predicted, Chelsea have a pretty decent schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Real Betis, they go away to Legia Warsaw, so that's a tough start. They then host FC Copenhagen. They host Celje. Then they go to Czech Republic to play Mlada Boleslav. They then go all the way to Moldova to play Petra Club.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Sheriff? Remember Sheriff from Moldova? What happened to them? Anyway, if you know, tell us in the comments. They then host HJK from Finland. So, you know, there's, once again, like, I don't see any banana peels for them in this schedule. They should quite easily make it through to the next round as well and finish in the top 8.
Yeah. You would expect.
Let's be honest. Chelsea should get a perfect.
Yeah.
With their schedule.
Exactly. There's nothing says that they shouldn't win each of these games. You would expect it. I expect it. We'll see how it all.
They don't play Betis. They don't play Fiorentina. So, you know.
No.
Like, Fiorentina play the New Saints. They then go to Switzerland to play St. Gallen. They then go to Cyprus to play Apoel. They then host Paphos. There's a Cypriot theme there. Then they host Lask, the only country in Europe where football is the 3rd most popular sport. And they then go to Vitoria Guimarães. So, you know, okay, maybe Vitoria Guimarães can give them a challenge. At that point, they'd have probably already qualified for the top 8. But,
yeah.
You know, I don't see any of these teams having any issues.
No.
Those teams on the seeds, like, I will be shocked if one of those 3 teams don't win the league, unless it's Heidenheim, I guess. And Heidenheim, this is their first season in Europe, so it'd be it'd be a great effort from them to do that.
Yeah, exactly. The amazing effort from them, really. So.
Yeah, like, Europa League is so competitive, you know, like, it's so ridiculously competitive.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think a team from outside of Italy, Spain, or England will ever win the Conference League.
No, exactly. Whilst they've sort of got one going in, I think you're right. They'll always...
And probably always, England, an English team should always make the final.
Yeah, I think so too.
Just because of the sheer... Like, Chelsea, this year, it's ridiculous, the sheer difference in, like, funding and, like, wage bill and all that stuff.
Yeah. I wouldn't even want to look at it. It'd be crazy, just thinking about it.
And also Chelsea, they might not be doing too well in the league, so this is what they'll focus on.
Exactly. So hopefully this year we'll do a little bit better in the league, but yeah.
It's not going to be like the year, it's not going to be like the year when West Ham won, because like West Ham had to fight relegation, so they had to focus on the league a bit. Chelsea's not going to fight relegation.
No.
And you know, they're probably going to be they're just probably going to be focusing on this. If Maresca can get a team, knows what his best 11 is, and they are able to put that out on the park. Other than, like, obviously a final is a one-off game, but over 2 legs, it's very difficult to see any team beat Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I still don't know why Pochettino was fired, and I also don't know why they're going to fire Maresca at the end of this season.
Yeah.
But, you know, Chelsea do weird things.
I mean, there's a little bit of news out about that, so that appears to be Bowley versus Clearlake, all that. So that's more owner arguments than anything else. So
the owners are not speaking. Yeah, that's a great situation for Chelsea to be in, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's just
owners
perfect.
not talking to each other.
Chef's kiss. Exactly how I want to be.
Yeah. It's not great.
No.
But, you know, it is what it is. Like, as I said, like any other given year, can you imagine a team like Chelsea falling down to, like, this level? Like, you know, with the players they have, and even with Maresca, like, he's a decent enough manager, as shown by his one season at the Championship. So, there's no reason, like, if they were to somehow, you know, draw Fiorentina in their semis or Betis and lose to them, okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Any of the other teams, it's like, what are you doing, Chelsea? Exactly. What are you doing?
I mean, Chelsea have already done their best to be out of Europe. They had looks like everybody had to go through a little bit of the qualification, the playoff rounds, the qualification. So they only made it through 3-2 on aggregate against Servette, a Swiss club. So they did their best. They went away. They won at home. They went away and was like, we don't need to win this, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Betis do have Manuel Pellegrini managing them.
Yeah.
Who is probably the best manager in this tournament.
Yeah.
So those are probably our two favorites?
I would say so, yes. I'd say
Chelsea and Betis.
With Fiorentina.
Because, Betis is not going to compete for top four, probably, in Syria, in La Liga, rather.
Yeah.
Fiorentina might make top four.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's why
maybe, because Syria is so unpredictable.
Yeah, who knows where it's actually going. Yeah, so I'd say Chelsea, Betis, and Fiorentina is outside possibility.
Yeah.
And say, just give them maybe a slight bit that they somehow make it through and get a favourable run through the playoffs. Saying Chelsea and Betis face each other in the semi-finals for some strange unknown reason.
Yeah. It'll definitely be interesting. Though it's, like I said, what are you looking forward to in the three tournaments? Which team, like outside the usual suspects, are you like, oh, I want to watch this team. I hope they make it to, make a deep run in the tournament. And why is it Atalanta?
Yeah, well, there's Atalanta as well.
Because in the Champions League, it would be great if Atalanta made it to, like, the knockout phases and then got through. Because Gasperini, winning the Europa League last season, and he's been, the old man of Italian football. He plays that entertaining brand of, relationist type football. It's not about positionalism, everybody moving in time like chess pieces. It's about the players knowing and giving them autonomy.
Yeah.
The ultimate materialist manager, other than the guy who's even better than Carlo Ancelotti at being a materialist.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's going to be Atalanta is going to be quite a fun look. Say they get to go play the two big Spanish clubs, Madrid and Real Madrid and Barcelona, as well as Arsenal. So that's fun for them. But the rest of their schedule's pretty decent, really.
Yeah.
I mean, just about all of the Champions Leagues looks like it should be entertaining. I always like the of Brest and such. It's good to see new teams into the Champions League. It's always nice to watch them and see how they do.
Yeah, Bologna, Brest, and the Girona coming through.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a really, really interesting Champions League. I think in the Europa League, the team I'd low-key obviously want to see is Fenerbahce because, a special one.
I thought they were just counting as part of the usual suspects.
The obvious top four. the usual suspects.
The obvious ones that we're interested in.
Then I'd like to see Bodo Glimt, right?
Oh yeah.
All the way in the because it would be funny to just make teams go all the way to the North Pole.
Yeah.
To play them.
Just gonna play up in the North Pole.
There's no airport that flies direct. You have to go to, I think, Trondheim and take a 3-hour bus or train. I can't remember, through the mountains, and it's cold.
That is horrible. I pity the people who have to travel there.
Yeah, and as for the Conference League, I mean, come on, the new Saints.
Yeah, exactly. They have to be the best option.
They're a good shout. I think they're a good shout to finish in the top 24 because, you know, it's pretty random, and they're like, obviously they dominate their league. So, I mean, they play Fiorentina, which is not a good start, but they host. After that, they host Astana. There's the Celtic derby playing against going to Shamrock Rovers.
Yeah.
And then hosting Djurgårdens from Switzerland, and then they host Panathinaikos. Oof, another tough one. And then they go to Slovenia. It'll be rough, but they could make it in the top 24.
Yeah, it's possible.
24 is so many out of 36 as well.
So it's just 6 games as well, so it's sort of you just got to take a couple of those games and they should be fine, so it is very possible.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be, the Conference League is going to be crazy with just 6 games. And, 36 teams, like, that's just a couple of drops here and there and you could be, that'll be it.
Can you imagine if the new Saints made it to the finals of the Conference League? Because, once you're in the knockout rounds, anything's possible, right?
Anything is possible, yeah. You got to dare to dream at that point.
Yeah. But it would be pretty cool. But, yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting European season. I can't wait for the games to start next week. But, yeah, we'll obviously review it come the new year after our annual Christmas and December session and take it from there at that point. But yeah, thanks. I think that's all we have time for today. Thanks very much for listening and look forward to seeing you next time.
Catch you next time.
Well, that is the end. Thanks for listening all the way through.
If you liked what you heard, we have even more. NineSixFourTwo Discord and a Buy Me a Coffee.
Pretty sure it's Buy Me a Beer.
Oh yeah, buy me a beer on buymeacoffee.com.
In both these places, you can talk to us, and we may even listen, especially if you do buy a said beer or coffee. I might still be confused.
Yes, we're easily bribed. All links are in the show notes below.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
This is on YouTube.